Hello everybody, my name is Geddy122 and welcome back to Pokemon Fire Red. Last time, we traveled to Sevii Island. We talked about and captured many new Pokemon, and we entered the Dotted Ruin in an effort to find the Sapphire. And even though we were able to find it, a sneaky little scientist man swiped it from us and said he was going to sell it to Team Rocket, which is frustrating, but now we have obtained the second password that we need to go to the Rocket warehouse. But before we do that, I want to do what is left to do around the Sevii Island area, as there is still more area for us to explore and even more Pokemon for us to find and talk about. But before we get to that, there is two minor things that I need to address, and so I'm going to kind of head to those specific items now. Back near where we saw the Dotted Ruin, there was this particular trainer that I did not fight, and I would like to take a second to fight him. A battle with you, so high up. And I'm not just trying to fight him because he's the only hiker in an area full of Ruin Maniacs. I actually want to fight him to show off that he has a new Pokemon that we have never seen before, Sudowoodo. I'm not going to be going into detail regarding Sudowoodo because even though it is here and it is relatively new, it's not actually possible for us to catch Sudowoodo in this game. But I just wanted to draw your attention to it and point out that it is here. It is owned by this man, and only this man. It is a Pokemon that we can never have, but it is here. Oh, the heartbreak of losing so easily to you. The second thing that I wanted to address is the effort of trying to get this specific item ball. I believe you just need to do strength on it twice, and then move it down one. And there we go. Now we got a full restore. Now I'm going to cut ahead to where we actually need to go. Oh, the joys of post-production. Now, we went southward in the water path, but there is actually an entirely new area for us to go up if we go up through the water path. So now that we have gone south, we are going to head north, and there are even more trainers for us to fight. In the water, there isn't anything particularly noteworthy in terms of new Pokemon to catch. Of course, there is Tentacool, as always. But there are plenty of trainers to fight. Now, I actually definitely want to talk to you. My boyfriend's always busy, so I come swimming by myself. I believe you are a particular trainer of relative note here, if my notes are correct. Yes! She has Chinchou. Now, once again, unfortunately, like Sudowoodo, Chinchou is a Pokemon that we are not actually going to be able to catch for ourselves in this game. It is available in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, so it's not like we are out of options as far as Gen 3 is concerned. But she has it, and it is here. And like that, Kaiser has grown to level 56. Beautiful. However, she does not just have Chinchou. She also has Chinchou's evolved form, Lantern, which is another thing that I am willing to point out and go out of my way to show. Aw, I knew this would happen. Hey, listen, you definitely did not waste my time. Thank you for showing off those Pokemon. Alright, we have one more guy here. What, you're suggesting that you're sick of seeing swimmers like me? Aw, don't be hating. What? Wait a second! I didn't think that was said in this game. Don't be hating. Alright, well, Game Freak, you're ahead of your time. It's ironically more caught off guard from what you told me than your level 50 Gyarados. Oh, no. Oh, yes. Alright, now then. Looks like we have a couple more trainers that we can fight here. Gonna get my team ready. And while I do, I would like to point out that I have brought Datsrite back into the fray. It'll make sense a little while later, but just so you know, yeah, Datsrite is gonna be with us just for a little bit. Just because he's gonna make my life a little bit easier. Hello, Pokemon. It's time to battle. Okay. Twins Mew and Mia would like to battle, and looks like they have two Pikachus. Because what else would it be aside from those two? And like that, they've been taken care of. You're mean. You're bad for winning. Man, these children are mean. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry, my Pokemon. Okay, well, we have this house that we can enter here. Hello? My height is 67.0 inches on the button. I know it is this precisely because my neighbor measured me. Strange. Does not appear to be an explicit purpose, this house. We'll address that later, I guess. Okay, it seems to be one more lady to fight here. I definitely do want to fight her. I let a pleasant breeze lead me all the way here. Well, ain't that nice for you? I prefer to let my Pokemon do the work. Aroma Lady Rose, and she has another couple Pokemon that we are not going to be able to get for ourselves. Sunkern! It's not that exciting. It is objectively the weakest Pokemon in terms of base stats. I wouldn't say it's the worst Pokemon ever, but trust me, we'll get there. She also has Sunflora, Sunkern's evolved form, which it isn't as bad as Sunkern, but it's still not great. But it's still worth pointing out, of course. Oh, 5 bullet seeds. Alright, well, Sunflora, I'll give you credit. You tried, and you definitely did a decent chunk of damage, all things considered. You're so cute when you're determined. Get away from me. Anyway, we're gonna continue on here. What does this say? Wanted, the ultimate horn. Okay. Heracross! Big and shiny, it's the bug boss. Love it, need it, Heracross. Okay, I'm out of here. No, we'll come back to her, but we're not gonna be able to address that for a hot minute. Water's dyed deep blue. We're gonna go here and we're gonna get that item we saw over to the right. Okay, well, I suppose no time like the present. Let's try to catch a Tentacruel since you're here. All right, and there we go. We've caught ourselves a Tentacruel. Not something I thought I was going to be getting today, but hey, can't complain about that. Tentacruel, the jellyfish Pokemon. It has 80 tentacles that move about freely. They can sting, causing poisoning and sharp stabbing pain. What a very pleasant Pokedex entry. If you'd like to give Tentacruel a nickname, feel free to recommend one in the comments. Okay, now let's get our thing, and we got an elixir for our troubles. Okay, so now we have gotten past that. I think there's a hidden item right here. Oranberry, very nice. And now we are on the green path. We've moved past the water path, and now we find ourselves here. And it looks like we have a new area to go to called the Pattern Bush. Now this is a little kind of maze-ish area with a lot of traders to fight. But before we get to that, I would like to let you know that there are 3 new Pokemon that we are able to catch while we are exploring the Pattern Bush. The nice thing about these 3 Pokemon is that all 3 of them are available to the Pattern Bush, regardless of what version you are playing, much like the ruins that we were at before. However, just to kind of save everyone a little bit of time, and because there aren't that many Pokemon that are worth talking about, I will go ahead and take some time to speed things up here and talk about the new Pokemon that we can find here. Let's get to work. I bet you think I'm just some guy, don't you, eh? Well, you're not wrong. Okay, so first of all, we have Spinarak as one of the new Pokemon that we can find here. Spinarak, kind of like Caterpie and Weedle, is kind of meant to be one of those early game bug type Pokemon that evolve relatively early but don't have the best stats in the world. But unlike Weedle and Caterpie, there's actually some more to talk about than simply that. Even though Spinarak doesn't have the best stats and its evolved form Ariados isn't that much better, The nice thing about these Pokemon is that they do learn some unique moves and also some pretty good moves in the long run. The most unique thing about Ariados is its ability to use the move Spider Web, which is a move that makes it so that the Pokemon cannot flee from battle. There are very few moves that allow you to straight up make it impossible for Pokemon to escape. There is Mean Look, and there are plenty of Pokemon that learn that, but Mean Look is still relatively uncommon. And having a Pokemon that can, again, keep another Pokemon from leaving is really, really important. Additionally, even though it is relatively late, you are able to teach Ariados Psychic through level up at level 63. So it definitely has that going for it. But that aside, it doesn't really have much else going for it other than that. Its biggest draw by far is its ability to learn Psychic. The rest of its moves are not particularly great, and even though Spinarak can get some decent stuff through breeding, including both Psybeam and Signal Beam, it's still quite a bit of work to make it, well, work. But if you're willing to put in the time, this is a pretty decent little bug Pokemon, especially for early game. Now, as for another Pokemon that we can find here, we can find Ladybug, and unfortunately, it doesn't really get better with this one. Even though Ladybug is rare in that it can only be found in this particular area of the Sevii Islands, this is another case of a Pokemon that has a great design, does not have a great execution. I will fully acknowledge that both Ladybug and its evolved form Ledian are excellently designed Pokemon. It's a ladybug that's a superhero. What more do you want out of life? Well, what I would want is decent stats and decent moves. And unfortunately, even though Ledian has pretty good speed and actually genuinely spectacular special defense, that's pretty much all it's got going for it. It learns mediocre at best moves leveling up. The only decent move that it actually learns through level up is Double Edge at level 60, and then maybe Swift at level 42. Additionally, even among the moves that Ledian can learn, which are already mediocre, it doesn't learn any bug or flying type moves leveling up. So it can't do anything to properly take advantage of its type at all. Sure, there are TMs that you can teach it, but why would you invest TMs in something that has such mediocre offensive capabilities? On paper, Ledian can serve as a decent wall, at least a special wall, but there are also plenty of other Pokemon that can serve the purpose of being a defensive wall a lot more effectively than Ledian. So I'd really only recommend this Pokemon if you enjoy the design. Now, that was a somewhat negative review of Ladybug and Ledian, but fortunately, I have good news, because the last Pokemon that we can find here is Heracross. That lady that was obsessing over Heracross in the cabin just a little ways back has every right to obsess over this Pokemon, because, oh my god, this Pokemon is awesome. I mean, first of all, look at that type. Bug and fighting type is an excellent type combination, both offensively and defensively. It can dish out hits very well, and it can resist a few things. It does have a handful of common weaknesses, especially the flying types, but it also has a type combination that kind of cancels out some of its other weaknesses. But also, look at those stats, man. I mean, really, 125 base attack, decent physical defense, 95 special defense, 85 speed. What more could you want on a Heracross? Moves? Well, Heracross doesn't have the absolute best moves when it comes to strictly its level up moves, but the things it does learn are really good. So it learns Fury Attack at level 17, which it's alright, but pretty soon you get to the good stuff. It learns Brick Break at level 23, which is ridiculously good to have that early on in its development. Level 30, you get Counter, which is already really good. I mean, again, there's a whole Pokemon based around countering, and you just have that on Heracross. You can teach it Takedown level 37, which is a pretty decent physical attack. Reversal at level 45, which gets stronger the less HP it has, and can potentially have a maximum of 200 base power. And unlike another really powerful Pokemon in this game that has great stats but doesn't have any ability to use Bug-type moves, Heracross gets 1. It's not much more than 0, but trust me, it only needs the 1. At level 53, it gets Mega Horn, which is the absolute best thing that you would want on a Heracross. Why would you need anything else on a Heracross? It's fucking Mega Horn. It's the best attack in the game for bug types to learn. I can earnestly recommend this Pokemon if you are looking for a good bug or fighting type Pokemon, because I will just say it straight up, Heracross is bar none the best bug type in the game, and easily contender for one of the best fighting type Pokemon in the game. Asterisk aside, you should definitely consider adding this to your team if you just want an extremely good bug Pokemon, because bug Pokemon, until Heracross came around, didn't really have a decent shot of actually being good. Okay, I think that covers all the trainers that we can fight here, I believe. While we were doing that, that's where I found another item. Back to this. Pecha Berry. Very nice. Now, as I mentioned, there are 3 new Pokemon that we need to find, so we're going to take a couple minutes to do just that. You are not one of them, Caterpie, but you are a welcome sight regardless. Okay, there we go. We have found a wild Heracross. Not going to be able to use Stats Right to facilitate catching this thing, but hopefully it doesn't give me too much trouble at its level. Oh my god. Yes, we'll use the next Pokemon. I can't believe we seriously have to do this. Now I want this thing. Bad. Okay, there we go. That Heracross gave me significantly more trouble than I thought it would. But we got it. Heracross, the single Pokemon. Usually docile, but if disturbed while sipping honey, it chases after the intruder with its horn. As I said, one of the absolute best bugs in the game. If you want to give this amazing beast a nickname, feel free to do so in the comments. Alright, Spinarak, there we go. Alright, Spinarak was caught. Fortunately, it did not give me nearly as much trouble as Heracross did. Spinarak, the stream Pokemon. It spins a web using fine but durable thread. It then waits patiently for prey to be trapped. As always, if you'd like to give a nickname to the Spinarak, feel free to do so in the comments. And now I gotta find Ledyba. I've had a hard time finding this thing. It only shows up 5% of the time, and even during the entire montage, I don't think I ran into Ledyba a single time. So this will definitely take me a hot minute. Oh my god, finally! That took way too long. So, to be relatively fair to Ledyba, while Ledyba and Spinarak are not necessarily version exclusives, which one you're able to find easiest depends on which version. So, in Fire Red version, you can find Spinarak 30% of the time, whereas Ledyba, evidently, you can only find 5% of the time, which is a painfully accurate percentage considering how long it took for me just to find one of these things. Thank you for giving me no trouble, Ledyba. May you rest in my PC happy, but paralyzed. Ledyba, the 5 Pokemon. That makes no sense. When the weather turns cold, numerous Ledyba gather from everywhere to cluster and keep each other warm. Why is it called a 5 Pokemon? It's 6 arms. Someone let me know in the comments. Anyway, if you'd like to give a nickname to Ledyba, feel free to do so in the comments. And also, again, please tell me why it's called the 5 Pokemon. I'm genuinely curious. Now that we have gotten that little matter taken care of, we can finally step out of this forest and hopefully never come back here again. Even though I'm probably going to have to at some point. Because we are not done with the green path. We still have a little bit left to do. But we've gotten through the bulk of what we need to cover through here. So we're gonna go up through this path and we're gonna talk to you. First time we've seen this particular trainer sprite interact with us in the field. Huh? I was envisioning my house, but this is where I teleport? Ooh. Psychic Jacqueline would like to battle. Yes, an actual, genuine psychic. Big boo-boo. Okay. Very curious. Alright, we're gonna head further up this way. Where did they just kind of put a random girl on an island? But, okay. Looks like we found ourselves at Outcast Island, and there's more trainers for me to not fight. It's not so easy sending Pokemon out while swimming, you know. That is true, unless you happen to be riding on top of a Pokemon, then it gets a little easier. I didn't lose to you swimming. This doesn't bother me. Well, that's fair. You're actually putting in the effort of swimming yourself, whereas I'm just riding on my Blastoise. Okay, we're gonna head further up. Looks like we have a double battle here. Big sister, help! Please battle with me! Ava and Geb. Who names their kid Geb? Someone brought a child into the world and decided that the best thing to name them was Geb. Alright, Kaiser grew to level 57. Beautiful. Wow, big sister, this person's really good. 400? That's not a lot of money. Oh well, can't complain about any amount of money I take from children. God bless. One more guy here to fight, I believe. I swam here from 6 Isle Port in one go. Good for you, my guy. This guy's got the big cookie. I like that. Rotoshi's grown to level 57. Beautiful. Okay, well, great conversation with you, buddy. Have anything else to add? I'm at the halfway point. I'm beat. Island's right here, dude. Okay, so we're gonna stop here. Oh! There's a Team Rocket Grunt up here. There's no rare Pokemon around these parts. Not a one! That burns me up, man. I'll take it out on you. Yeah, trust me, we'll get to this, but we need to deal with this idiot first. As always, Ronda finishes his enemies off with a critical hit slash. Can never complain about results. Huh? So listen, you haven't seen any rare Pokemon, have you? Unfortunately, no. And, unfortunately, we are not going to. Now, welcome to Altering Cave. This is a cave that was intended to serve a specific purpose. This specific cave was meant to be used with specific mystery gift events that would allow trainers to come here and find rare Pokemon they would not be able to find anywhere else. Unfortunately, said mystery gift events, despite still being fully compatible with this game, were never released in the United States. So the only Pokemon that you can ever find here, if I may demonstrate, is Zubat. That is it. That is all you will ever find. Now, even though they cannot be found legitimately, I am going to at least take the time to list off the Pokemon that you would have been able to find here had the option been presented to you. I'm not going to go over all of them individually in full-length bios because I feel like that's an unproductive waste of my time. But I feel like listing them off is at least somewhat fair. So, had we been able to access these events, you would have been able to catch a Mareep, an Aipom, a Pineco, a Shuckle, Teddiursa, Houndour, Stantler, and Smeargle. There are all different reasons why you may want to try to catch these Pokemon, and some are definitely fan favorites, and they all have their benefits. And it's not like there aren't any ways to catch these Pokemon in other Gen 3 games. Most of these are able to be obtained in Pokemon Coliseum and or Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness in one way or another. So it's not like you're completely stuck when it comes to options, but Yeah, there's no way to get them in this game through the event that they intended to because they never released this event. So, what purpose does this cave serve? None. The only interesting thing about this cave now is that this cave exists in both Kanto and Hoenn in different forms. The layout is basically the same, but their locations are different. That's it. That's all. God bless you, Game Freak. Why did we not get this in the United States? So this Rocket Grunt here has every reason to be upset because there really should have been rare Pokemon here, but there aren't. Now, I believe there was one item just north of the cave entrance, so I'm going to go grab that. And we got a PP out. And I'm not going to be fighting this particular trainer because I do not have unlimited time today. I am on a relatively tight schedule. Now that I've gotten that taken care of, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut it back to the house where we could show Heracross to that specific girl and see if we can't accomplish anything with that. Okay, I've gotten my Heracross in my party, so let's go show it off for this woman who's crazy about Heracross. Eek! That's a Heracross! Please, please, may I measure how big it is? God bless you. Eek! It's 66.3 inches! I've never seen anything like this! You deserve a reward! In the Nest Ball. I want to see a much, much bigger Heracross than that one. Oh, how I adore them big Heracross. God, there's so many jokes to be made. Anyway, Nest Ball, let's focus on that. A different Pokeball that works especially well on weaker Pokemon. The way this works is that the multiplier essentially is determined by how much higher your Pokemon is than the other. The best possible outcome is if you have a level 100 Pokemon and you're trying to catch a Pokemon that's level 25 or less, then the catch rate will cap out at 4. But aside from that, it's nothing particularly impressive and nothing I would go out of my way to use. It's more reliable to get an Ultra Ball. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for this episode. We've traveled north of the central 6 Island area, we've encountered a whole bunch of trainers, and we've gotten 3 more bug Pokemon to add to our collection of Pokemon. And I think next time on Pokemon Fire Red version, now that we've taken care of pretty much every item of business that there is to take care of here on 6 Island, among the ones we are actually able to do, we're going to be heading to 5 Island now that we have the passwords for Team Rocket's warehouse. See you guys then!